Why is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual? And most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s. Wow.
It is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
It was suggested that the then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
Why aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan Markle?
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew.
Yeah, boy.
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No Deal. Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament. She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my celebrities.
We again highlight the mucky murkiness and mendacious manner of this alleged yacht girl. According to Urban,
of Meghan Markle's alleged, rumoured yacht.
Do you think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the star.
And just here it comes. Reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return.
He knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress actress.
And it seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
Later in the press conference, a reporter asked Trump about Meghan Markle, and this is what he had to say about her.
I'm not a fan of hers, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry, because he's going to need it.
Wow. Who had Meghan Markle on their random Trump insults bingo card? Anyone? If you're keeping track, Meghan Markle's got beef with the Queen of England and the President of the United States.
Nasty, and says he feels sorry for Prince Harry because his wife is a lot to deal with.
And then the wife convinces you to leave the royal family. Like, I'm out. I don't need you guys. Which is crazy, because don't you just get free money?
The late Virginia Roberts wanted to call Meghan Markle as a witness, and she said it was exactly because Meghan Markle was a close past associate of Prince Andrew and would have seen or participated or been around whatever he was doing. Why isn't the press calling this out?
What looked like a normal Saturday night turned wild fast. Colin Jost faced the camera on SNL and dropped a line that did not just get a laugh, it detonated across the internet. He joked that one of the terms in Trump's new UK trade deal was that America would send Meghan Markle back, and for a second, the room froze. Then came the shock, then the laughter, then the kind of crowd reaction that tells you everybody got the joke at the exact same time. Then he twisted the knife even more, but only if she deletes her entire Instagram. That line hit, and the audience lost it all over again. Within minutes, clips were flying across X, TikTok, YouTube, and every gossip page hungry for chaos. The headlines came fast, the memes came faster, and while the studio crowd was howling, people watching from home could already feel this was not going to be brushed off like some forgettable late-night bit. Because this did not feel like some random celebrity roast. This felt personal, sharper, and way more loaded than the usual quick laugh at a famous name. According to Chatter Online, Meghan was not amused at all. The image people started painting was pure drama. All tension, all heat, all silent rage behind polished Montecito walls. True or not, that was the vibe spreading everywhere. And once that vibe takes hold, it moves like fire. What made it sting even harder was where it happened. This was not a niche podcast, not a small blogger, not some messy comment buried in a forum. This was a mainstream comic on one of the biggest comedy stages in America, saying what a lot of critics have been dancing around for months.
What? Let me introduce this thing called Google, okay? Over there, I think it's called Lori. It's full of useful information. For instance, turns out your husband knew Princess Di. That might have been a hint that this was going to be a rough gig. So while you're Googling, you might want to try the combo Andrew, Island, and Epstein.
Prince Andrew's confiding to friends about the not-so-secret relationship with him and Meghan Markle, and this is why Prince Harry wants to end the marriage and is so disgusted he can barely touch his woman.
Since you like that, here's another.
Meghan was not being mocked over policy or palace history. She was being mocked over her image, her public brand, that carefully managed glossy identity that now looks shakier every single week. And some viewers swore the joke carried a second meaning too. To them, it was not just a punchline, it was a signal, a flare shot into the air right before a bigger mess arrived. The timing felt too clean, too perfect, too nasty to ignore. 1 minute, the audience was still replaying Colin's line, and the next minute, the internet delivered another blow that made the whole thing feel less like comedy and more like the opening scene of a train wreck. Because just days later, a fresh wave of yacht photos started spreading online, grainy in places, strangely polished in others, the kind of pictures that instantly make people stop scrolling and zoom in. The backdrop looked straight out of fantasy money. A blazing sun, blue water, a luxury yacht floating off some glittering European coast, and a crowd of rich-looking men in designer shades with drinks in hand, staff nearby, and expensive calm written all over the frame. In the middle of it all was a woman in luxury swimwear, smiling, relaxed, camera ready, looking like she did not have one worry on earth. That was all the internet needed. The resemblance alone was enough to send social media into full detective mode. Reddit threads exploded. TikTok creators started stitching side-by-sides. X turned into a war room of screenshots, theories, and messy certainty. The online sleuths pulled out everything they had. Timestamps, face angles, sunglasses, body shape, hairline, posture, old outfit comparisons, even tiny physical details people had no business acting like experts on. And the comment sections reached their verdict with wild confidence. To them, this was Meghan, full stop. No hesitation, no caution, no breaks. That energy spread fast, and once that kind of certainty grabs the algorithm, it becomes almost impossible to slow down. What really made the whole thing blow up, though, was not just the photos themselves. It was the timing. These images started making rounds right when Meghan seemed to be trying another pivot, another reset, another polished relaunch of the story. There was buzz around her rosé.
Karina Shulia was Jeffrey Epstein's last known girlfriend. She is on record saying that the only times she flew on a plane, went on a yacht, or whatever, was with her boyfriend, Jeffrey Epstein. And here we have Rachel Meghan Markle parading on a yacht since 2014.
Girl past, set to be exposed in a new documentary that's finally going to air next month. Let's put it this way, I smell a scared little...
The pictures are there. We can all see them. Why isn't anybody questioning this?
According to online sleuths, those pics were taken during her Suits era, right when Meghan was busy shaping her...
NBC has announced plans for a spin-off to the hit series Suits, which will be set in Los Angeles. It will focus on Meghan Markle's character's struggle to balance her legal career while also caring for an...
Buzz around media projects, buzz around the next chapter she wanted people to focus on. But instead of that shiny reset taking over the conversation, the yacht rumours came stomping back in and dragged the whole mood sideways. That was the real damage. Not a single image on its own, but the way the internet read those images against the version of Meghan that had been presented for years. For a long time, she sold a vibe people could recognise in 1 second flat. The bright lifestyle shots, the clean wellness feel, the soft power captions, the self-made glow, the carefully chosen causes, the calm confidence, the polished modern Duchess package. It was not just celebrity branding, it was a full identity play, and it was built to look intentional from top to bottom. So when those yacht photos hit the timeline, critics immediately framed the contrast as brutal. They were not looking at some random young woman on a vacation years before fame. They were looking at what they believed was a completely different lane than the image later sold to the public. Online sleuths began claiming the photos were from her Suits era, right around the time she was shaping herself as a smart, aspirational, cause-driven public figure. And once that claim took hold, the issue stopped being about dates and started being about consistency. That is where the story cracked open for a lot of people. In the eyes of critics, the problem was not, was she on a yacht? The problem was, does this fit the clean, curated version of the story we were sold? That question became the whole show. Suddenly, people were not just looking at photos, they were looking at branding, narrative, image control, and all the little ways public figures try to guide what the audience sees and what the audience never gets to see. The conversation got even messier because so much of it lived in rumour spaces for years. The so-called Yacht Girl label had floated around gossip boards, blind items, and anonymous threads forever, usually dismissed as sexist trash, ugly speculation, or the usual internet poison thrown at women in the spotlight. And to be fair, a lot of people did move on. Once Meghan married Harry and stepped into royal life, that whole chapter seemed buried under PR, official appearances, magazine covers, interviews, and a much bigger global narrative. But the internet loves old rumours more than new facts. And the second those resurfaced photos started circulating, that buried label came roaring back. Suddenly, people who had laughed the rumour off years ago started asking questions again. Believers acted like they had been proven right all along. Critics started reposting old clips. Commentators dragged old timelines back onto centre stage. YouTube channels revived dusty pre-wedding theories like they had just been filmed yesterday. And the algorithm did what it always does when scandal smells strong. It fed the beast harder. Then came the pile-on. More commentary channels started hinting at powerful names allegedly connected to old elite gatherings. Forums resurfaced stories about Meghan being ambitious, strategic, and obsessed with moving up in every room she entered. None of it landed as proven fact, but online, proof is not always the product, vibe is the product, suspicion is the product. A maybe repeated enough times starts sounding like a, you know what, I can see it, and that is exactly how these storms grow teeth. Even her old lifestyle blogging got dragged into the mess. People started revisiting posts from the TIG and reading them through a completely different lens. Suddenly, those dreamy travel notes, glamorous invitations, pretty escape stories and polished lifestyle moments did not feel harmless to critics anymore. They started treating them like coded breadcrumbs, like hints from an older chapter that had been hiding in plain sight all along. Fair or unfair, that was the new frame, and once a new frame locks in, every old photo and every old sentence starts looking different. The pressure got worse because none of this was landing in a vacuum. Meghan already had critics waiting for any reason to call her fake, overmanaged, or overly strategic. So when this wave hit, they did not need much convincing. They saw the yacht chatter, the comedy roast, the rebrand timing, the old blog posts, the online forensic obsession, and to them it all snapped together into one ugly picture. Maybe not airtight, maybe not proven, but dramatic enough to keep millions watching. And then came the move that, to a lot of people, made everything feel even louder. Meghan said nothing. No direct denial, no clear statement, no fast legal warning, no emotional social media response, no polished message about truth, dignity, or moving forward. Just silence. And in the current media game, silence does not always come off classy. Sometimes it reads as careful, sometimes it reads as tactical, sometimes it reads like someone calculating whether speaking will make it worse. That silence split the audience right down the middle. Supporters argued that refusing to answer random online gossip is exactly what a public figure should do. Why give nonsense more oxygen? Why reward bad faith speculation? Why turn rumour into headline by acknowledging it? That side saw the silence as discipline, not fear. They saw it as a refusal to wrestle in the dirt with people who had already decided what they wanted to believe. But critics saw the exact opposite. To them, silence was not strength. It was a choice made because any response would only invite more questions. They started saying that when a story is completely false, the denial usually comes fast and clean. Shut it down, call it out, threaten action, move on. That is the argument they kept making. And that is why the quiet felt so loud. In a media culture built on instant reaction, instant spin, instant image control, total radio silence does not feel empty. It feels loaded, and that is where the whole thing turns truly dangerous for a public brand. Not because one joke was told on TV, not because one batch of photos resurfaced online, not even because gossip channels started feasting again. It turns dangerous when the audience begins to think the silence itself is part of the story. Because once people start reading meaning into what is not being said, every hour without a response starts looking bigger, stranger, and more deliberate. And when a story is false, the pushback is usually instant, which is exactly why her silence left so many people staring at the screen, waiting for the denial that still had not come. The normal move in a crisis like this is quick and aggressive. You correct it, you threaten legal action, you deny it hard, and you try to shut the whole thing down before it starts growing out of control, especially when the story cuts straight into the center of your brand. But Meghan did not do any of that, and people noticed right away. Even some of her loudest supporters, the lifestyle influencers, the feminist bloggers, the royal exit podcasters, suddenly got very quiet. And not just casually quiet either. It was the kind of uncomfortable silence that makes people online raise an eyebrow and start asking even more questions. Nobody came rushing in with a strong defense. Nobody jumped out front to bury the story fast. And to a lot of people watching, that hesitation felt loud all by itself. The reason seemed simple. This was not easy material to spin. How do you explain yacht party images when your whole public image has been built around humanitarian work, social justice, and the idea of being the outsider who fought her way up? How do you square that level of access and luxury with the story of a struggling underdog before royalty ever entered the picture? To the online crowd, you cannot. Not neatly, not cleanly, and definitely not with one polished statement. That is why the silence felt so much louder this time. It was not just the absence of a response. It was the weight of that silence hanging over everything. Every hour without a direct denial gave the internet more room to speculate, react, and build the story into something even bigger. And that is when the silence started feeling, to many people online, like its own form of confirmation. Their thinking was blunt. If it was not her, then why not shut it down instantly, loudly, and clearly? Why leave the door cracked open? Why let the memes, reels, reaction videos, and stitched clips keep piling up without a serious counterpunch? Instead of slowing the conversation down, the quiet fed it. It turned one joke and a batch of photos into a full-blown digital storm. Then the reaction content hit hard. Memes flooded the timeline. Reels popped up non-stop. YouTube channels started posting breakdowns, side-by-sides, and commentary clips like they were solving a mystery in real time. There was no real counterweight, no sharp public pushback strong enough to change the mood. So the tone shifted fast. It went from, "This is messy," to, "Hold on, maybe there is more here." And once the audience starts leaning that way, it becomes much harder to pull the story back. Behind the scenes, though, the online chatter painted a very different picture. Gossip pages and unnamed insiders claimed Meghan was anything but calm, making calls, firing off emails, and pushing her team to contain the fallout before it spread even further. Some reports even said she was trying to redirect the spotlight back toward her charity work, her podcast, and her public projects, anything but yacht rumours and SNL jokes. Whether every detail was true or not, that was the image people online were running with, and it made the whole thing feel even more dramatic. But critics believed the damage had already locked in. Colin Jost's punchline was not just another joke that came and went. It gave the internet permission to laugh, and once a public figure becomes a punchline, the narrative moves faster than any PR machine can keep up with. Meghan, once framed as polished, glamorous, and inspirational, was suddenly being dragged through TikTok edits, YouTube roasts, and Instagram reels, breaking down her public evolution in the harshest way possible. Her empowerment quotes were being stitched over alleged yacht clips and luxury visuals. Speeches that once sounded uplifting were suddenly being turned into satire. Old interviews got replayed with a totally different tone. Even some of her supporters seemed to struggle to steer the conversation back towards safer ground. The internet had found a new angle, and it was not ready to let it go. Worse still, people started saying Hollywood had noticed too. Whispers spread through industry circles. Some studios were said to be rethinking conversations. A few brands were rumoured to be pausing campaigns or stepping back to reassess. Not because Meghan had no value, but because she was suddenly being framed as unpredictable, harder to manage, and riskier to attach to. In a business where image is everything, that kind of shift matters fast. PR experts know the rule well. You cannot go massively viral for the wrong reasons and expect everything around you to stay the same. Public image is currency, and when that image starts wobbling, people get nervous. That is how critics started describing the moment. Meghan's value had not disappeared overnight, but the shine around the brand looked less stable than before. And while Meghan was said to be scrambling behind the scenes, Harry got dragged right into the centre of it too. This was not just her mess anymore. It was their brand, their image, their public life together. Suddenly, his face was sitting in thumbnails right beside hers, with harsh captions and commentary trying to paint him as blind-sided by a scandal he never saw coming. The whole thing started looking like shared fallout, not just individual backlash. Royal watchers claimed Harry looked caught off guard. Some even suggested he had gone unusually quiet, skipping appearances, avoiding Zoom calls, or staying out of what many expected would be a joint clean-up effort. Whether that was fully true or not, his silence began fueling its own story. Instead of looking united, the Sussex front started looking shaky in the eyes of critics, and once people sense possible cracks, they build a whole drama around them. One palace source allegedly whispered, "He looks like a man realizing the fairy tale came with fine print." That line spread because it landed hard. Critics have called Harry naive for years, but now the commentary turned especially ruthless. Online, he was being painted as the man who gave up titles, family, and country, only to find himself trapped in a public mess he could not control. It was brutal, but the internet loves a brutal line. Behind the scenes, reports kept claiming Harry was spending more time alone, stepping back from strategy talks and growing quieter with each new wave of backlash. Meghan, meanwhile, was still being framed by critics as the one trying hardest to steer the story and protect the brand. But Harry, at least in the eyes of outside viewers, looked more distant, more tired, and maybe even more unsure than before. And if even a little of that is true, the tension would make sense. There is only so long someone can tune out non-stop internet noise before it starts sounding like truth. There is only so long a person can live inside headlines, jokes, clips, and reaction videos before it begins to get under the skin. That is why people kept saying this was never really just about a yacht. It was about what the whole conversation did to the larger image. Because at its core, this storm was about the illusion. Meghan Markle did not just marry into royalty. She pulled off one of the most dramatic personal rebrands in modern pop culture. From struggling actress to global humanitarian, from suitcase girl to duchess, from lifestyle blogger to so-called cultural voice. Every piece of that image was built carefully, polished, packaged, and sold to the world as a seamless transformation. That is why critics believe this moment hit so hard. It did not just challenge one rumour, it challenged the entire storyline. And that is why, to critics, Colin Jost's joke was not the beginning of the scandal. It was the moment the mask slipped, at least in the eyes of the internet. Once those old photos resurfaced, everything Meghan had spent years trying to move past came rushing back into view. Strategic friendships, calculated networking, disappearing old connections, carefully shaped image choices, all of it started getting pulled apart again. People online began connecting dots between her past and present, and the picture they built was not one of simple reinvention. Critics said it looked more like erasure, and for many of them, that became the real scandal. Not yachts, not champagne, not luxury by itself, but control, the careful rewriting of a backstory that did not fit the glossy empowerment narrative. the instinct to push down anything that clashed with the brand. The way filtered posts, polished interviews, and sharp buzzwords built a version of Meghan that felt almost too perfect to question until now. Because when real, unfiltered moments cut through that perfection, the image starts to wobble. And here is the part that stings most. Once the internet turns you into a meme, it holds onto that version of you for a long time. No PR team, no interview, no podcast, and no polished rollout can fully erase viral ridicule once it sticks. It lives in comment sections, reaction videos, reposted clips, and threads that never really die. So now Meghan is not just being questioned. She is being redefined by critics, not as the brave outsider or the royal rebel, but as a brand strategist whose biggest product may have always been herself. And as the internet keeps dragging old receipts back into the light, that product is starting to lose its shine. Suddenly, the fairy tale looks less like romance and more like a case study in image management. Because when your story depends on perfection and your past looks anything but perfect, eventually the contradictions catch up. And when they finally do, no title, no publicist, and no podcast can fully stop what comes next. The yacht rumor was never the only point. The deeper issue, at least for critics, is how far someone might go to bury parts of the past, and how fast the internet can drag them right back up. Meghan built her empire on being the misunderstood outsider, but now critics say she's being understood a little too well. If you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more royal drama, media chaos, and the stories everyone keeps whispering about.